Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Persephone would like to introduce you to a brain-dead idiot called John Harrison. John thought he'd choose a profession that's slightly different from those that we normally get on here. Unfortunately, he forgot to do even the most basic of research. "Hello," he said. "How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well and fine. My pleasure to have you as a friend on here. Please, where are you from?" "Good morning, I live in Leeds in England." "Beautiful! How's your health and family, ma'am?" "I'm currently working as a humanitarian coordinator under the UNHCR in Israel, but originally from Washington, DC. Oh well, Persephone knew this was going to be fun right from the get-go. "How interesting. Which people are taking refuge in Israel?" "US Army," he said. "Why are the US Army taking refuge in Israel? Have they defected?" "They can't withstand it alone," he said. "I don't know what that means." "Oh, really?" "You mean they can't go home to the US for some reason?" "Yeah, really?" "No." "Do you know what it means?" "It's the war over there in Israel." "Or are you just typing highfalutin nonsense in the hope I'll think you sound impressive? Yes, I know there's a war there. You work for the UNHCR, which, in case you're wondering, is the UN High Commissioner for Refugees." "OK, be patient. Let me explain to you," said our man, frantically trying to work out what it all meant. "Do you know what the UNHCR does?" "Yeah." "Awesome. So explain what you do, please, and explain what the UNHCR does, please." "UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refuge," he said. "Yeah, I know what it means. I asked you to explain what you do, please, because you told me you're in Israel. You told me you aren't working with refugees, and you told me you are working with US Army personnel. Or are you just making up dimpleworm stories and have no idea what you're talking about?" Google tried to help him. "I works to protect refugees, displaced and stateless people by advocating for their rights. I work with governments and partners to advise on and strengthen laws and national systems and help provide services. Through this, I help ensure displaced people can access documentation, education, work and healthcare. Do you understand now? How about you?" "I know what the UNHCR does. I'm asking what you do, what you personally do. You told me you aren't working with refugees. You're not working with refugees. You don't work with refugees." Hopefully you can understand one of those. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I should warn you this is one of those videos where repetition is the name of the game. And if you don't like the ones where Persephone or any of my girls just goes on and on and on at the scammers, this might not be the video for you. But he did cave in once Persephone started talking nonsense. "Oh, so sorry. I'm working with a refugee." "You told me you are working with US Army personnel. You are working with the US Army." And in reply to him saying, "Oh, so sorry, I am working with the refugee," she said, "So you told me a big fat porky pie when you said you're working with the US Army. I don't like men who don't tell the truth. Which refugees are you working with?" "So sorry, I misunderstand you." "Which refugees are you working with?" "Explain to me what you don't understand." "Which refugees are you working with?" It shouldn't be a difficult question. "Where are the refugees from?" Again, hopefully you can understand one of those. "From the state that was sent to save lives in Israel." "No, you fool. You're working with refugees." "Washington, DC, he said. "Why are people leaving Washington and taking refuge in Israel?" "Calm down. Let me explain to you," said our man, who by then had completely lost the plot, and I don't think he ever found it. "Do you know what a refugee means? I keep asking, and you keep typing nonsense. Why are people leaving Washington and taking refuge in Israel?" "Understand that it is due to the Arab countries that was having a war with the Israelites that make them call for an assistant. So I and some group of refugee agency was posted there to help them out in the war. All these are in the news." "Yes, but why are people from Washington, DC becoming refugees in Israel?" she said, copying where she'd asked him, "Where are the refugees from?" And he'd said, "Washington, DC. "I mean, I'm from Washington, DC. "Congratulations. And not everyone in Washington, DC that are going to Israel. So I'll try once more and hope for a sensible answer." "Give up, Persephone, you're never going to get one." You see, that's why I said you should calm down and understand me very well. Where are the refugees from? Final chance to give me a sensible answer, then you're blocked for being a brain-dead dumble. No, so sorry. Calm down and listen. I'm from Washington, D.C. Where are the refugees from? Refugee agency are in all countries. Where do the refugees come from? From Washington, D.C. That's why I was among them. Why are people from Washington, D.C. taking refuge in Israel? What has happened in Washington, D.C. that means people are leaving and going to Israel? No! Why do people from Washington need to become refugees in Israel? And she copied 3 times, where she'd said, where are the refugees from? And he'd said, from Washington, D.C. Why are people from Washington taking refuge in Israel? It's only the refugee in Washington, D.C. that we're invited to Israel to help them out. Why are there refugees in Washington? Where did they come from? Why have they been asked to help in Israel? It's because of the Arabian countries. It's because of the war over there. They need assistance. Why are people in Washington becoming refugees because of wars in Arabian countries? They're thousands of miles away. Yeah, we're asked to help the Israelites. I think he might have been reading his Bible. You have to be the thickliest, dimliest, most idiotically brained, toddle-headed moronicness that ever walked the earth. In the war, I'm struggling to understand how you even have enough brain cells to wake up in the morning. And so, he called her.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? You told me you're in Israel, working with refugees. Do you know what a refugee is?
I thought I told you about that.
Yeah, you told me you're in Israel, working with refugees who've come from Washington and DC. Why are people from Washington, DC having to become refugees in Israel? What's happened in Washington that's made them leave?
Alright, so what is that you don't understand? So what is it that you don't understand? Let me know, okay?
I think I just did. I don't understand what's happened in Washington that means that people from Washington have to become refugees in Israel. What's happened?
Okay, I'm gonna brief you now, okay? Just hang on, okay?
What do you want me to hang on to? The light fittings?
Just hang on, okay? I'm gonna brief you. What are you asking me right now, okay?
Yeah, I'm hanging on tight. Oh dear, you disappeared. You disappeared there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna text you back right now, okay? I ain't going, okay?
No, you can tell me now while I'm talking to you. It was your idea to call.
You don't have to worry, okay? You don't have to worry about that, okay? I'm gonna text you right now. Just hang on, okay?
No, I'm not worried. You're not going to text me. You're going to tell me it was your idea to call. Your idea to call. So you're going to tell me now why you're talking to me. You're not going to text me. You're going to tell me now why you're talking to me. And I do hate having to say everything twice. It's so tedious.
I'm busy right now.
No,
so
you're
I'm
not
text
busy.
you.
You're not busy. You're talking to me now. You called me. You've got one chance. You can either tell me now or you can go away because you've got to be the thickest, dimmest, most ridiculously idiotic, stupid moron that's ever walked the earth, haven't you? And you're too stupid. You don't even know what a refugee is, do you? No, I didn't.
I'm so sorry, you don't understand me.
No, I don't understand you. You're too stupid to work for the UN. Tell me what a refugee is, without looking it up on Google, obviously. You don't know what a refugee is, do you?
You just have to calm down, okay? So I'm going to explain everything to you. Right now I got a call and I really need to answer that call.
No,
so
you
that's what I'm telling you. I'm going to take
No, you haven't. Stop lying to me. Do you know what a refugee is? I will get back to you, please. I need to answer a call, please. Stop lying to me. Either answer my call now or go away forever. Choice is yours, and I count to 10 to answer. She got down to 4, and our man answered the call. And I apologise for the sound quality on this call. It's one of those calls where there's an echo on his end. Right. Now stop being so bloody rude. It's very unkind. Right. Do you know what a refugee is?
Okay, you said what?
I said, do you
What
know...
is it?
Shut up. Do you know what a refugee is?
Yo.
Right. Tell me what a refugee is.
Okay. A refugee is a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. Do you understand that right now?
Awesome, well done. Wikipedia's done you proud, or Google has. Now tell me why people from Washington DC have been forced to leave for any of those reasons and go to Israel.
Okay, right now we have been forced to go to Israel, okay?
Why are people from Washington DC? Why are people from Washington DC being forced to go to Israel? What is the reason that is forcing them to leave Washington?
Okay, that's what I'm telling you right now. Like, now you're gonna listen to this. I've just explained to you what refugee simply means, okay? Now, from that understanding, you got to understand that this is one of the reasons why we in the Washington DC need to go to Israel to help them out, okay? So that's just it all concerning the war that is going on between Israel and the Arabian countries. So what is the next your question?
Right, Mark, you said that people from Washington DC are the refugees. The refugees that are going to Israel are people from Washington DC. Why are people from Washington DC becoming refugees? What war or whatever else it was that you said is happening in Washington that is forcing the people from Washington to leave and become refugees in Israel? Remember, you've told me what a refugee is.
Yeah. Now there's peace in Washington DC, but there's no peace in Israel. And now refugee is in each and every country you go to.
Right, if there's peace in Washington, why are the people from Washington being forced to leave and go to Israel? What else is happening then? Is there a natural disaster in Washington that is forcing people to become refugees and go to Israel? Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have an idea of what I'm saying, but you seems not to understand this. So I really want you to understand this. You just have to calm down. So right now we talked about it, okay? I will just explain to you that there is peace in Washington DC, okay?
Yeah, there's
But
peace
there's
in
no
Washington
peace.
DC. So why are people from shut up? Why are people from Washington DC becoming refugees if there's peace? Why are people from Washington being refugees?
Okay, now the refugees are working hands together. They are a group of people. Are you understanding me? The refugees and the UNCH, they are a group of people that work together. It's an organization, okay?
Yeah, I know what the UNHCR is. I'm asking you a very specific question. Why are people from Washington becoming refugees? Why are the people from Washington leaving and becoming refugees? What is happening in Washington that means the people of Washington are becoming refugees? It isn't a difficult question. People from
Now, now,
Washington are
now
becoming refugees. Why?
this is the answer to your question, okay? Just like what I've said, there's nothing, there's peace in Washington, D.C.
Yes, I know there's
Okay?
peace in Washington,
No,
D.C.
no,
Why, shut up, why are people from Washington, D.C. becoming refugees? There's peace in Washington, you've said. Washington is peaceful. Why are the people from Washington becoming refugees? What is causing the people from Washington to become refugees? There's peace in Washington, I know, you've said, you don't have to say it again. So why are the people from Washington leaving and becoming refugees when it's peaceful in Washington? Something's causing them to leave. What is it?
Okay. Now, what I'm telling you right now is that we have all ourselves, okay? We the refugees and the UN are working hands to hands together. The Israelites, they called for assistance.
No,
You
we're not.
understand me?
No, we're not. We're talking about Washington, Washington D.C., Washington D.C. Shall I say it again? Washington D.C. Washington D.C. is a place. It's peaceful. Washington D.C. is a peaceful place. There's peace in
Yeah.
Washington D.C.
Are you from Washington, D.C.?
No, I'm not. Washington, you know
Where are you
about
from?
Washington D.C. You're from there. You've told me it's
Yeah.
peaceful. It's a peaceful place, is Washington D.C.
Yeah.
They got peace there. Why?
Where are you from?
Why are people leaving Washington? Why are the people of Washington becoming refugees? What is causing the people of Washington to leave and become
Right
refugees?
now,
Because we know it's
right
peaceful.
now,
Why are they
okay.
leaving?
Right now, what I'm going to tell you right now is that I don't really know for the now, but I believe I'm in Israel, okay? So right now, I don't really know what's going on in Washington, D.C., but I believe that Washington, D.C. is peaceful.
Right, so you think it's so you work for the UNHCR, you believe Washington is peaceful, but you've got all these hundreds of people who are coming to Israel from Washington DC as refugees. Haven't you asked any of them why they've left? Did you not ask any of them why they're leaving? Haven't you thought to ask any of them why they've come to Israel? Didn't you talk to them when they arrived in Israel to ask them why they'd left Washington?
That's why I asked you at the first place that did you have anyone in Washington D.C. or do you live in Washington D.C.? But nevertheless, I'm going to check on someone, okay? Immediately I hang up the call with you right now. I'm going to text someone to know if things are going on very well in Washington D.C.
Well, I
And
should
I'm going
just
to
go
get
and
back.
ask some of those refugees that are arriving from Washington DC. I would ask them why they've come. You know, just go outside and ask some of them, why have you come to Israel? What's happened in Washington DC? Why have you come to Israel? I'm sure they'll tell.
Okay,
I'm sure
okay,
they'll tell you.
okay. But did you know the reasons?
Well, how would I know? You're the one that works for the UNHCR, and you're the one that's just
Um,
you're the one that told me that people from Washington are becoming
Oh
refugees
yeah,
in
yeah. I've been
Israel.
in Washington. Yeah, I've been in Israel for the past 4 years now. So I really don't know, but I'm going to check on. Okay,
But
so you
you,
just have to be patient.
it's you,
Okay.
you told me. It was you that told me. You told me. I mean, I regret having to say everything so many times. You told me. It was you that told me that people from Washington, D.C. are becoming refugees in Israel. You told me that. It was you that said people from Washington are becoming refugees in Israel. You said it. So you ought to know why all those people are arriving in Israel, Israel where you are, why they're coming to you from Washington DC. You should have asked some of them by now. You've been there for
Yeah.
4 years. You've had time to ask some of them why they've come to
Like
Israel.
what I've told you, I told you that there's war here in Washington in Israel.
Why would people come from Washington to Israel if there's war? Why would they want to leave Washington, which is peaceful? You've said it's peaceful in Washington.
Okay,
Why are
and
they
I told
leaving?
you,
Why are they leaving Washington to come to Israel? If Washington is peaceful and Israel's at war.
yeah. Now calm down and understand me, okay? It is not all citizens that is in Washington D.C. that are living in Washington, okay? You're smiling. I love that. It is not all people that lives in Washington D.C. that are living in Washington D.C., okay? And I told you that we, the UN, we are an organization that goes out to help other countries in the midst of their wars. And I told you that some letters will be transferred to us back then, about 3 to 4 years back in Washington D.C. That we should come over to Israel to help them out. And I told you that I've been in Israel for 4 years.
Yeah, you've told
Are
me
you
you've been in
understanding me?
Israel for 4 years. You've been in Israel for 4 years. You went there 4 years ago. I heard you, you've been there for 4 years. You told me that people from Washington have become refugees in Are You told
Yeah.
me that the
And I
people from
explained this. Hang
Washington
on,
are
hold on. And I
becoming
explained this to
refugees.
you.
Why are the people from Washington becoming refugees in Israel? It isn't a
Yeah.
difficult question. Why are people from Washington, why are people from Washington becoming refugees in Israel? Why are people from Washington moving to Israel as refugees? What is causing people from Washington to become refugees? I'm sure you can understand one of those.
Yeah, and that's what I'm explaining to you right now.
No,
I
you're
said
not.
those that are living. No, no, okay, calm down, okay. Those that are living Washington D.C., they are not just citizens alone. They belong to an organization where they worked, okay. Example, I'm one of them. Okay, we worked with the UN and CHO. You understand me? So those are the people that are leaving Washington to go and assist Israelites. Are you understanding me now? It is not all Washington DC citizens that are leaving Washington DC. Okay? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I wasn't listening
Okay,
to
do you understand me right now?
No, I wasn't listening to a word you've said, but I expect it was the usual rubbish, so we won't worry about it. You don't even know what a refugee is, do you?
And I just told you the meaning of refugee.
Yeah, you told me the meaning of refugee, but you don't understand it, do you? Because you've told me that there's peace in Washington, so there's no reason why people would leave Washington and become refugees in
And I
Israel,
told
is
you
there?
those that are living, and I told you those that are living in Washington D.C. They belong to an organization. And I told you that.
Yeah, you did, but I can't think of
And
any
I told
organisation
you
that would
that, and I told
force
you
them to
that,
become
and I told you
refugees.
that, and I told you that they are working with the UNCHR. And I
Yeah,
told you that.
yeah. You still haven't explained why they've become
So,
refugees. Why? What organisation are they working with that has caused them to become refugees?
all
Why?
right, let me explain this to you. Did you know the meaning of the UCHR?
Yeah, I know much better than you do what it stands for.
Okay, I'm glad. So, if you know more better than I do, you would understand every single thing I'm saying right now.
Yeah, well, you're talking rubbish as you know perfectly well. Why do people?
Well, I'm not
Shut
laughing.
up!
Like what I've
Shut
said. I
up!
said I've
Shut
been
up!
in
Shut
Israel for
up!
4 years
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I've heard you. You've been in Israel for 4 years ago. For 4 years. 4 years ago, you went to Israel. You've been there for more than 3 years and less than 5 years. You've been in Israel for 4 years. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. I heard you the first time. You've been in Israel for 4 years. There's no need to
Where are you
say it
from?
again. right? Shut up. What organisation?
Where are you from?
Shut up. What organisation do the people in?
Where
Shut
are
up.
you from?
Shut up. I told you where I'm from, and unlike you, I don't have to say everything 20,000 times before you can hear it. I told you where I'm from. I've told you where I come from. You've already been told where I come from. Yeah, I know where you come from, and I know you've been in Israel for 4 years. Now, what organisation do these people in Washington work for that has caused them to become refugees? Why has working for an organisation been so terrible that it means that the people of Washington that work for that organisation have had to leave and become refugees? What's happened in Washington that means that those people have had to become refugees?
Like what I've told you, you keep repeating one words. I believe you know more better than I do because right now I'm no longer in Washington D.C. But like what I've said, I've told you that I've been in Israel for 4 years, so I
Yeah,
really
I
don't know
know.
what you're
You've
talking
been
about.
in
But the
Israel.
little I
You've been in
understand
Israel
is
for
what I'm
4
explaining
years.
to you.
Do you know? I'll tell you what. Tell me how long you've been in Israel. I've forgotten how long you've been there.
I said I've been in Israel for 4 years, so what are you talking about?
4 years. Oh my goodness, that's a long time, isn't it? Yeah. I can imagine that you'd easily forget how long you've been there if you've been there for 4 years. Just remind me how long you've been there.
How long I've been in Israel?
Yeah, remind me how long you've been there.
I told you, I've been in Israel for 4 years.
Oh my goodness, I must have misheard you the first time because I thought you said 4 years, but you keep changing your mind, don't you? So you've now decided it's not 4 years, but it's actually 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no,
What are you
before.
talking about?
I know it's so entertaining when people just talk rubbish, isn't it? You know, we could talk about how many dimple worms have defected to become dimblewicks. You know, that's quite an entertaining topic actually, because I believe they had a meeting in the village hall and they were struggling to decide what kind of cake they needed to serve. Because, of course, if you're a refugee from Washington, you know, Washington refugees, well, I don't know what kind of cake they'd eat, you know. If you were, you can tell me, can't you? All those refugees that are arriving in Israel because they've had to leave Washington, what kind of cake do they like? I mean, you've been there for 4 years. You know, you've had plenty of time to ask them.
Are you doubting me?
Am I doing what to you? Oh, you've been struck dumb, have you? You think you're the only person that should talk nonsense and that everyone else should talk sense? Is that what you're thinking? I mean, have you got enough brain cells to think, man? Maybe you haven't. Because you don't know why people are leaving Washington, do you? You never thought to ask all those people that are arriving in Israel. How are they getting to Israel from Washington, by the way? Oh, you disappeared. That's a shame. Let's see if we can get you back. You have to be the thickestness, most idiophilotic, dimbliest moronicness that ever walked the earth, said Persephone after the call had finished. You're a disgrace to Nigeria. Goodbye, she said, and blocked him. Apologies again for the sound quality of that last call. Sometimes it just happens and I have no idea what happens, and I don't know until I listen back to the recording. However, I think you got the gist of what he was saying, which was pretty much nothing really. I hope you enjoyed this daft tale. If you did, you know what to do. Please like it, please share it, please comment down below, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another video.